All right, welcome everyone to another deep dive into all things AI.
Excited to be here.
Every time we do one of these, there's like a mountain of new stuff to unpack. It's crazy how fast this field is moving.
It really is remarkable.
So, for this deep dive, we've got research papers, benchmarks, forum chatter, the whole works. And let me tell you, there's some seriously cool stuff to talk about.
Can't wait.
Okay, so first up, there's this AI model called DeepSeek R1, and people are, well, they're kind of freaking out about it.
I've seen that. A lot of buzz online.
Yeah, like it's not just hype, it's actually blowing other models out of the water on these benchmarks. It snagged second place in WebDev Arena and third in El Marina. And for those who are like, what's that? Those are benchmarks that test like how well AI can build websites and understand super complex language.
Yeah, those are pretty tough tests.
Right. So what's even wilder is that R1 is like 20 times cheaper than the models it's beating.
That's a game changer in terms of accessibility.
Totally. So what's the secret sauce? Why is R1 so good?
Well, they're using reinforcement learning, but with a twist. They've incorporated something called aha moments into the training process.
Aha, moments. Like, what do you mean?
It's like imagine you're struggling with a concept and then suddenly, boom, it clicks. You have that flash of insight.
Oh, I see.
That's what they're replicating with R1. These aha moments act as pivot points during training, helping the model connect the dots more effectively.
So it's like that student who suddenly figures out the shortcut and aces the test.
Precisely. Now, one thing that's been causing some confusion online, especially on platforms like Olama, is the whole full R1 model situation.
Yeah, I've seen some people talking about that.
The full model is actually a beast to run. It needs a whopping 700 gigabytes of VRAM.
Whoa, that's like supercomputer level.
Right. So what you're mostly seeing are smaller versions called distillations, which are adapted to run on, more normal hardware.
So that's why there are all these different versions floating around.
Exactly. It's the R1 family. And the cool thing is that it keeps expanding through these distillations thanks to the open source community.
That's amazing. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about this new benchmark that's making waves. It's called Humanity's Last Exam, or HLE for short.
Catchy name, right?
Yeah, and it sounds seriously intimidating.
It is. Imagine 3,000 super advanced questions across 100 subjects, from history and physics to, like, literature and coding.
Whoa, that's a lot to handle.
And here's the kicker. Current AI models are only scoring under 10%. Even R1, with all its brilliance, only managed to get 9.4%.
Wow, that puts things into perspective. Even our most advanced AI still has a long way to go.
It's a humbling reminder.
So how did R1 stack up against other big names like OpenAI's O1 and Anthropic's Claude?
Well, R1 seems to have an edge when it comes to reasoning and cost effectiveness,
Yeah,
but it's not all about benchmarks, right? There's also the data that goes into training these models.
true, the data is crucial.
And that's where the Dolphin R1 dataset comes in. It's massive, like 800,000 examples, all focused on reasoning and dialogue.
800,000, that's huge.
Yeah, and the team behind it actually spent around $6,000 in API tokens just to build it. But the best part is they're going to release it under the Apache 2.0 license on Hugging Face.
So it'll be freely available for anyone to use.
Exactly. That's the beauty of open source. It allows for incredible collaboration and really pushes the field forward.
It's awesome to see that kind of sharing. Okay, so we've talked about models and benchmarks, but how is all of this actually playing out in the real world? Like, how is AI actually changing our lives?
Well, that's where AI agents come in.
AI agents, yeah, they're popping up everywhere.
Right. They're promising to handle all sorts of everyday tasks, like take OpenAI's Operator, for example. It's now available to all pro users in the US.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
And they can do some pretty cool stuff like book appointments, order food, even help with research.
So it's like having a personal assistant that lives in your computer.
Exactly. Imagine being able to say, "Hey, operator, find me the best reviewed Thai restaurant near me and make a reservation for 7 p.m." Or like, "Operator, summarize the key findings from this research paper on quantum computing."
That would be a lifesaver for someone like me who's always buried in research papers.
Right. It's all about freeing up our time and mental energy for more important things.
But AI agents aren't just about individual tasks, are they?
Hmm.
What about their ability to interact with the digital world, like on a larger scale?
That's where it gets really interesting. There are projects underway that are teaching AI agents to navigate web browsers, interact with software applications, even control physical devices.
Whoa, so it's like instead of us clicking around menus and buttons, we could just tell our AI agent what we want to do and it just like does it.
That's the idea. Still early days, but the potential is huge. And speaking of digital tools, we can't forget about the advancements in coding environments.
Right. Coders need love, too.
Absolutely. Tools like Cursor and Codium are integrating web search directly into their platforms.
So no more switching between tabs and windows just to search for code snippets or documentation.
Exactly. It's all about streamlining the workflow and making developers more productive. But of course, there are always challenges, like Cursor's live share feature for collaborative coding is having some disconnection issues.
Ah, the joys of technology. Always a work in progress.
And Codium is facing some technical problems too, like 503 errors and login failures.
Sounds like there are still some kinks to be worked out.
Definitely. But overall, it's exciting to see how these tools are evolving.
Okay, so as these AI agents become more integrated into our lives, what about the whole memory and personalization thing? Like, how do we ensure they remember our preferences and adapt to our individual needs?
That's where projects like the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, come in. They're working on database integrations so AI agents can access and remember more personalized information.
That makes sense. Like, you wouldn't want your AI agent booking you a table at a vegan restaurant if you're a diehard meat lover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They've also introduced something called variance logs, which allow for more nuanced and adaptive AI interactions.
So it's not just about what AI can do, but how it remembers and learns from our interactions.
That's cool.
Okay.
This is all so fascinating. There's just so much happening in the AI world right now.
It really is an exciting time to be following this field.
What do you say we take a quick break and then come back to dive into some of the juicy news and gossip from the companies and communities shaping this landscape?
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
All right, we're back. And you know what time? It is time for some AI gossip.
The AI world is definitely full of surprises.
It's like a reality show, but with like brilliant minds and cutting edge tech instead of, drama and manufactured conflict.
Although there's definitely some of that too, especially in the online communities.
Oh, for sure.
Oh.
Okay, so first up, let's head over to Hugging Face. The platform that's like the go-to place for AI enthusiasts and developers. Well, they've had a big leadership change with Phil Schmidt stepping down. Yeah, he's seen the platform grow from a small startup to like a global phenomenon. It's quite a legacy.
It's a testament to their commitment to open source and making AI accessible to everyone. Now let's shift gears and talk about Meta. They've just released a stable version of their Llama stack, and, the rumor mill is going crazy about what they might have planned next.
The whispers are all about Llama 4. Some people are even saying it could be the next big thing, potentially even rivaling DeepSeek R1 and OpenAI's offerings.
The anticipation is killing me. It seems like every week there's a new breakthrough or announcement. Speaking of breakthroughs, we can't forget about our mysterious friend DeepSeek. Their success with R1 and their whole open source approach have made them a real force to be reckoned with.
There's still a lot of mystery surrounding DeepSeek, though. Like, where did they come from? How did they get access to so much computing power?
Right. It's like a real-life tech thriller. Some people are even whispering about potential government backing, specifically from China.
Intriguing, isn't it?
Totally. And then there are the rumors of them offering insanely high salaries to engineers. It's like everyone wants to be part of the DeepSeek story. Okay, so now let's get a bit more technical. For those who like to, get their hands dirty with the nuts and bolts of AI development.
Always a fun topic.
One thing that seems to be causing developers a lot of headaches lately is memory management, especially on macOS 15 Plus Summit.
Yeah, that's a known issue.
So what are developers doing about it?
Well, they're having to get creative with workarounds like adjusting memory unwiring and using techniques like residency sets to keep things stable.
Sounds complicated.
It can be. And then there's the ever-present challenge of reducing training costs. Training these massive AI models can be incredibly expensive, even for large companies.
Yeah, I can imagine. So what are people doing to tackle that?
Researchers are always looking for ways to optimize the training process. Techniques like PyTorch compile and other optimization strategies are helping to bring costs down.
That's good news for smaller teams and organizations who want to experiment with large language models. But what about those who don't have access to supercomputers? Is it even possible to train a massive AI model on a single consumer-grade GPU?
It sounds impossible, but that's exactly what a new method called Lohan is making possible.
Lohan.
Yeah. It's a memory scheduling technique that allows developers to train models with, get this, 100 billion parameters on a single consumer GPU.
100 billion, that's mind-blowing.
It really is. So even with limited resources, it's becoming possible to push the boundaries of AI development.
That's incredible. But it's not just about training, right? What about actually using these models? The process called inference.
Right. Researchers are also exploring ways to make inference more efficient. One really interesting concept is flash inference.
Flash inference. Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So it involves loading model parameters from flash memory on demand. And this could potentially allow us to run like giant language models on devices with much less powerful hardware. Think like your smartphone or even a smart speaker.
Whoa, so imagine having access to like a super powerful language model right in your pocket. That's insane.
Huh.
But there are still challenges, right? Like the whole issue of expanding context window sizes in large models.
Exactly. As models get bigger and more complex, they require massive amounts of VRAM. And expanding the context window, which is essentially the model's working memory, can quickly hit the limits of even like powerful GPUs like the 4090.
It's like a constant tug of war between model size and our ability to actually run them effectively.
That's a great way to put it. And as we push the boundaries of AI capabilities, we also have to consider the political and regulatory landscape, which is becoming increasingly intertwined with AI development.
Right. Speaking of politics, there's been a lot of talk lately about this massive AI project linked to OpenAI. It's codenamed Stargate.
Yes, the Stargate Initiative. It's a $500 billion project shrouded in mystery and political maneuvering.
500 billion. That's like an insane amount of money.
It is, and Donald Trump has actually claimed credit for it, even though sources suggest it actually originated in the previous administration with significant private investment from companies like SoftBank and Oracle.
It's a tangled web of intrigue. And like with any major technological advancement, there are concerns about its potential impact on the workforce. Like, will it lead to mass job losses?
Well, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, has addressed those concerns. He said that Stargate won't lead to mass job losses, but rather a shift in the types of jobs available.
So it's not about AI replacing humans, but about humans adapting to an AI-powered world.
Exactly. He's emphasized the need for workforce retraining and adaptation.
That makes sense, but it's not just companies driving AI development. Governments are also getting involved, right?
Oh, absolutely. And they're not just funding research, they're also implementing regulations. Like the U.S. has put in place new export controls on advanced hardware, which could impact AI development in other countries.
So it's like a global race for AI dominance.
In a way, yes. And these controls also include restrictions on sharing model weights, which are like the core building blocks of AI models.
Interesting. So how will that play out?
Well, it could be a challenge for smaller companies and researchers who might not have the resources to navigate these restrictions. Larger companies like Cohere and Oracle might have an easier time, though.
It's a complex issue with a lot of moving parts. But on a lighter note, amidst all the serious talk about politics and regulations, let's not forget that AI can also be a source of, amusement and even a little bit of sass.
Oh, for sure. As these AI systems get more complex, they're also developing quirks and personalities that can be quite entertaining.
Like, I've heard stories about DeepSeek R1, or at least the distilled versions, being a bit too sensitive for its own good. Apparently, it tries to avoid certain topics altogether.
Yeah, it sparked debates about whether the limitations are in the app itself or the model itself.
It's a reminder that even with all these advancements, AI systems are still under development.
Definitely. And then there's OpenAI's Operator.
Yeah.
It's been known to get a bit sassy, especially when handling mundane tasks like making reservations or ordering food.
Oh, that's hilarious. I can just imagine it making snarky comments about my restaurant choices. But, it's that kind of personality that makes AI feel, well, less robotic and more relatable.
I agree. It adds a human touch. Okay, so speaking of human touch, let's dive into the world of AI-focused Discord communities.
Ah, yes, Discord, the virtual hangout spot for all things AI.
Exactly. It's where developers, researchers, and enthusiasts gather to discuss ideas, share knowledge, and of course engage in some good old-fashioned AI gossip.
It's like a digital water cooler for the AI crowd.
Exactly.
So let's take a tour of some of the most active Discords and see what's got everyone talking. First stop, the Cursor IDE Discord.
A popular choice for developers. And from what I've seen, they're pretty excited about the latest improvements in .NET support.
That's great, but it's not all smooth sailing, is it?
Not quite. There are still some ongoing issues with the live share feature, which is causing frustration for those who rely on it for collaborative coding.
The joys of software development. Always a work in progress.
Right. Okay, next up we have the Unsloth AI Discord. They're known for their work on, making large language model training more accessible.
Yeah, they're doing some really cool stuff over there.
They are. Their work on Lohan, which allows for fine-tuning those massive 100 billion parameter models on a single GPU, is pretty revolutionary.
It's like they're democratizing access to powerful AI models.
Exactly. And they've also released the Dolphin R1 dataset, which is a huge collection of examples focused on reasoning and dialogue. And they're making it freely available under the Apache 2.0 license on Hugging Face.
That's awesome. It's great to see that kind of sharing and collaboration. But even with these advancements, they're still hitting some roadblocks, right?
Yeah, they're having some challenges with fine-tuning large models like Qwen 2.5, especially when dealing with different languages and data sets.
It highlights the ongoing need for more efficient fine-tuning methods.
Definitely. Okay, let's move on to the Codeium Discord. They've been making waves with their Windsurf IDE, haven't they?
Yeah, Windsurf is getting a lot of attention lately.
And for good reason. They just released Windsurf 1.2.2, which has some really impressive web search capabilities.
So developers can access information and resources without even leaving their coding environment.
Exactly. It's all about streamlining the workflow. But of course, no software is perfect. They've also been dealing with some technical issues like 503 errors and login failures.
It seems like every step forward in AI development comes with its fair share of unexpected challenges.
It's true. Okay, now let's head over to the OpenRouter Discord.
What's the latest buzz over there?
Well, they recently had a ranking outage that affected DeepSeek R1, but it seems to be back on track now. What's interesting is how users are finding creative ways to bypass limitations, like setting up personal APIs for Google's Gemini model.
It's like a constant game of cat and mouse between developers and limitations. But with all this experimentation, there are bound to be some questionable actors out there.
Oh, absolutely. There's been some skepticism surrounding a platform called Blackbox AI.
Blackbox AI, what's that?
It claims to offer access to powerful AI models, but some users are concerned it might be a scam. So there are warnings going around to be cautious before sharing any sensitive information or making any financial transactions.
It's a good reminder to always do your research and be wary of anything that sounds too good to be true.
Okay, let's move on to the Latent Space Discord. Latent Space is a great place to get a pulse on what the broader AI community is thinking and feeling. They've been celebrating DeepSeek R1's impressive performance in the web dev arena, but they're also having some lively discussions about the limitations of tools like Adobe Enhanced Speech, which some people find to sound too robotic.
It's interesting how, even with all these advancements in AI, there's still a strong preference for, human authenticity, especially when it comes to voice and communication.
I agree. Okay, last but not least, let's check in with the MCP Discord.
MCP. Remind me what that stands for again.
The Model Context Protocol. It's all about giving AI agents a richer understanding of our preferences and needs.
Right. So what's new in the world of MCP?
Well, they recently increased wait times for their services, but they've also introduced variance logs to enhance personalization.
So it's a trade-off between speed and personalization.
In a way, yes. But these variance logs allow for more nuanced and adaptable AI interactions, which is essential for creating truly personalized experiences. They're also making progress with database integrations, particularly with MCP Alchemy, which will give AI agents access to a wider range of information.
That's exciting. More personalized and knowledgeable AI agents. What's not to love? Okay, last stop on our Discord tour. The Llama Index community.
Llama Index is a powerful tool for working with large language models, and their Discord is where developers gather to share their experiences, troubleshoot issues, and collaborate on projects.
They're all about making large language models more accessible and useful.
Exactly. They've been making strides in processing various file formats like PDF and PPTX, implementing streaming capabilities, and developing RAG workflows.
RAG workflows.
Yeah, it stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. It's all about combining the power of large language models with external knowledge sources.
Ah, so it's like giving these large language models access to a vast library of information.
Precisely. And LAMindex is at the forefront of making RAG workflows more accessible and efficient. They've also been focusing on optimizing concurrency to avoid performance bottlenecks.
That's great. So they're not just expanding the capabilities of large language models, they're also making sure they run smoothly and efficiently.
Exactly. It's a great example of how the open source community is constantly working to improve these AI tools.
It's inspiring to see so much passion and collaboration. So, zooming out a bit, what are some of the broader trends we're seeing emerge from all these Discord discussions?
Well, one thing that keeps coming up is the impact of export controls, particularly those imposed by the U.S.
Right, we talked about those earlier.
Access to advanced hardware is crucial for pushing the boundaries of AI, and these restrictions could potentially hinder innovation, especially for smaller players.
It's a delicate balance between national security and fostering innovation.
Absolutely. Another recurring theme is the limitation imposed by VRAM capacity. As models get larger and more complex, the demand for VRAM skyrockets.
It's a constant hardware hurdle.
It is. And then there's the ongoing fascination with model distillation techniques. Developers are constantly searching for ways to create smaller, more efficient versions of these large language models without sacrificing too much performance.
It's like trying to fit a supercomputer into a smartphone.
Exactly. And amidst all the practical challenges, there's also a lot of excitement around new and innovative approaches to AI development. Like we're seeing experiments with interlinear programming, or ILP, for merging views in TinyGrad, and the use of bilinear MLPs to improve model interpretability.
So, even with all the limitations and challenges, there's still a lot of room for creativity and innovation.
Oh, absolutely. That's what makes this field so dynamic and exciting. Okay, let's wrap up our Discord tour with a quick update on OpenAI. They've been relatively quiet lately, but I'm sure they're cooking up something interesting behind the scenes.
OpenAI never disappoints. So, what's the latest scoop?
Well, they recently launched Canvas in ChatGPT from macOS, which uses their O1 model for rendering HTML and React components.
So, it's like having a mini web developer right inside ChatGPT.
Exactly. It's a glimpse into the future of AI-powered creative tools. They're also continuing to develop Operator for more sophisticated web interaction.
And of course, we can't forget about O3.
Ah, yes, the next iteration of their language model.
Everyone's been eagerly awaiting its arrival.
The rumors have been swirling for months, but OpenAI is keeping it tightly under wraps for now. No official release date or details about its capabilities yet.
The suspense is killing me, but hey, that's part of what makes the AI world so exciting.
It's true. There's always something new to look forward to. And speaking of new things, while we wait for O3 to drop, there are plenty of other noteworthy happenings in the AI world to keep us occupied.
Like what?
Well, there's a new MOOC on LLM agents from Berkeley, which is a great resource for anyone who wants to learn more about this fascinating field.
And of course, the conversation about those skyrocketing AI salaries continues to dominate online forums.
It seems like everyone is trying to recruit top AI talent, which is driving up salaries and creating a highly competitive job market.
It's a good time to be an AI expert. But it's not just about the money, right? There is also a growing recognition of the importance of AI on a global scale.
Absolutely, yeah. Governments are increasingly involved in driving AI projects, both for research and development and for real-world applications.
It's clear that AI is no longer just a niche field. It's becoming a global priority.
It is. And amidst all the corporate maneuvering and government initiatives, it's important to remember the essential role of the open source community.
Yes. They are the unsung heroes of the AI revolution.
Their contributions, their collaboration, their dedication to knowledge sharing, it's all driving accessibility, democratizing AI, and fostering a spirit of innovation that benefits everyone.
Without them, the AI landscape would look very different today. So as we wrap up our whirlwind tour of the AI ecosystem, it's clear that we're living in a time of incredible advancement and change.
It's a truly exciting time to be following this field.
But with all this progress comes a responsibility to ensure that AI is developed and used ethically and for the benefit of humanity.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the key takeaways you want our listener to walk away with?
Well, first and foremost, the pace of innovation in AI is simply astounding. New models, tools, and applications are emerging constantly, pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible.
It's a lot to keep up with.
It is. And this rapid pace of innovation creates incredible opportunities, but also underscores the need for vigilance and proactive engagement. We need to be informed, we need to be involved, and we need to be shaping the future of AI rather than simply reacting to it.
I completely agree. What else?
Secondly, the open source community is an absolutely vital force in shaping the AI landscape. Their contributions, collaboration, and dedication to knowledge sharing are what drive accessibility, democratize AI, and foster a spirit of innovation that benefits everyone.
It's a beautiful thing to witness.
It really is. And finally, it's crucial to remember the human element in all of this. As AI becomes increasingly integrated into our lives, we need to prioritize ethical considerations, societal impact, and human well-being. This requires ongoing dialogue, collaboration, and a commitment to responsible innovation.
We need to make sure that AI is used for good, not for harm.
Exactly. Ultimately, the future of AI is in our hands.
Powerful words.
So as we wrap up this part of our AI deep dive, I want to leave our listener with this thought. As we navigate this exciting and complex world of AI, let's approach it with both curiosity and caution. Let's embrace the possibilities while acknowledging the potential challenges. Let's foster collaboration, prioritize ethical development, and work together to shape a future where AI benefits all of humanity.
That's a great message to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through the AI ecosystem. We'll be back soon with the final part of our deep dive, where we'll wrap everything up and leave you with some final thoughts to ponder. Welcome back to our AI deep dive. We've explored a ton of fascinating developments, from groundbreaking models to the vibrant communities driving innovation. But now it's time to synthesize it all, connect the dots, and uncover those aha moments. Where do we go from here? What should we be paying attention to as AI keeps advancing at this crazy speed?
One thing that stands out to me is the balance between open source innovation and, well, the growing influence of big companies and governments. It's awesome to see companies like OpenAI and DeepSeek making such strides, but let's not forget that the open source community is often the driving force behind accessibility, experimentation, and democratizing this tech.
Yeah, it's like open source is the foundation upon which so much of AI innovation is built. How do we make sure that spirit of collaboration stays strong even as AI becomes, more commercialized and strategically important?
That's a great question. I think fostering that culture of knowledge sharing is key. Encourage open source contributions, support initiatives that promote collaboration. Think of it like tending a garden. We need to nurture the open source ecosystem if we want it to thrive.
That's a great analogy. So we've talked about the tech, the trends, the communities, but we can't ignore the elephant in the room, right? The societal implications of all this. How do we make sure AI is used ethically? What about its potential impact on the workforce? Those are big questions.
They are, and we need to address them head on. As AI systems get more and more sophisticated, we have to deal with potential biases, prioritize transparency, and make sure these technologies are developed and deployed in a way that benefits everyone.
It's about shaping the future of AI instead of just reacting to it. Like, what happens to jobs as automation becomes more common? How do we prepare people for that shift? How do we make sure everyone has the chance to participate in this AI-powered future?
Those are the million-dollar questions. Policymakers, industry leaders, educators, they all need to be part of the conversation. Investing in education and training is key. People need the skills to thrive in this new economy. And it's not just about one-time training. It's about fostering a culture of lifelong learning where people are empowered to adapt and evolve alongside these technologies.
Yeah, we need a roadmap for navigating this uncharted territory. A roadmap that puts human well-being front and center and creates a future where AI empowers us, not displaces us. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the key takeaways you want our listener to remember?
Okay, so first, the speed of AI innovation is just mind-blowing. New stuff is coming out all the time that creates amazing opportunities, but it also means we need to be paying attention, be proactive.
It's like riding a wave. You got to learn to surf it. Second, the open source community is absolutely essential to the AI landscape. Their contributions, collaboration, knowledge sharing, it's driving accessibility and democratizing AI for everyone.
Couldn't agree more. And lastly, the human element is crucial. As AI becomes more intertwined with our lives, we need to keep ethical considerations, societal impacts, and human well-being top of mind. That means ongoing dialogue, collaboration, and a commitment to responsible innovation.
AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. The future of AI is really up to us. Well, that brings us to the end of our AI deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this journey. It's been quite a ride.
It really has.
The world of AI is constantly evolving, so stay curious, stay informed, and let's keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with this incredible technology.